Hi, now I'll be solving past questions in your WAEC and JAM. Okay, so the first question I'll be solving today would be a UTME question. It says if 25 raised to power x minus 1 is equals to 64 to bracket 5 over 2 all raised to power 6, then x has the value of, okay, in this case, we'll first reduce 25 to a base of 5. So reducing 25 would be 5 squared, 5 raised to power 2, all raised to power x minus 1 to be equals to 64 times, you can now distribute the 6 for the 5 and the 2 in the bracket. So that will be 5 raised to power 6 all over 2 raised to power 6. So now opening the bracket for the 5 raised to power 2, that's number with double powers, you multiply their powers out. That will be 5 raised to power 2x minus 2 will be equal to 64 can be reduced to a base of 2. That will be 2 raised to power 6, meaning 2 multiply itself 6 in 6 places will give us 64 times 5 raised to power 6 all over 2 raised to power 6. Here, if you notice 2 raised to power 6 can cancel out 2 raised to power 6. So that would now yield 5 raised to power 2x minus 2 equals to 5 raised to power 6. Now in this case, the bases are equal. We can imply that their powers are also equal. Since the bases are equal, we equate the powers. So that would yield 2x minus 2 equals to 6. Collecting like terms would be 2x equals to 6 plus 2. So that would be 2x to be equal to 8, and dividing both sides by 2 would mean that x is equal to 4. Okay, that's the first example. Now the second example would be if the square root of 3 raised to power x is equals to square root of 9, then find the value of x. It's a UTME question. First of all, we'll need to get rid of the square root signs. The square root signs. The best way to get rid of the square root signs is to square both sides. Now after squaring both sides, that will yield 3 raised to power x to be equal to 3 raised to power 3. So since the bases are equal, we can imply that the powers are equal. So that will mean that x is equal to 2. That's easy. Okay, let's go to the next question. So if it is given that 5 raised to power x plus 1 plus 5 raised to power x equals to 150, then the value of x is equal to, and this is also a JAM question, it's easy. You have, first of all, we need to break down that 5 raised to power x plus 1. Break it down to 5 raised to power x times 5 raised to power 1. This is gotten from one of those laws I stated before, that when two numbers are multiplying themselves with the same base, you add their powers. So this is a reverse process. So that will be 5 raised to power x times 5 raised to power 1 plus 5 raised to power x equals to 150. Okay, so if you notice here, we can factorize 5 raised to power x out. So factorizing 5 raised to power x would give us 5 raised to power x into bracket 5 plus 1 equals to 150. So 5 plus 1 would be 6. And then dividing both sides of the equation by 6 will yield 5 raised to power x equal to 150 divided by 6. 150 divided by 6 will give us 25. Okay, so the best way to do this now will be to express 25 in a base of 5. So 5 raised to power x can be equal to 5 raised to power 2. Since 25 expressing to a base of 5 will be 5 raised to power 2. So since the bases are equal, we can equate the powers. So that will imply that x is equal to 2. Now, the next question will be, without using tables, solve the equation 8x raised to power minus 2 equal to 2 over 25. Okay, so first of all, we can divide both sides by 8 so that the x raised to power minus 2 can be on the left hand side. So in doing that, we have x raised to power minus 2 will be equal to 2 over 25. 2 over 25 times 1 over 8. So 1 over 8. This will yield x raised to power minus 2. Simplifying the right hand side will be 2 over 200, which will be 1 over 100. And that can also be written as 10 raised to power minus 2. 10 raised to power minus 2. 1 over 100 will be 1 over 10 squared. Since 10 times 10 will give us 100. Reversing one of the basic interpretations that talked about negative power. Reversing this in this case would give us 10 raised to power minus 2. So if you look at this equation, we have x raised to power minus 2 equals to 10 raised to power minus 2. In this case, the powers are equal. So since the powers are equal, you equate the bases. That will imply that x is equal to 10.